You've chopped it, tossed it in a pan, maybe even complained about the smell on your hands. But garlic might be one of the most quietly powerful things sitting in your kitchen right now. Not a supplement, not a trend, just a small, sharp-smelling bulb that's been part of nearly every culture's kitchen for thousands of years. Ancient Egyptian laborers ate it for strength. Greek Olympic athletes chewed it before competing. Grandmothers everywhere have been slipping it into soup at the first sign of a sniffle. None of them had lab equipment. They just noticed something. And here's what makes this worth your time, especially if you're over 60. The things garlic seems to influence, blood pressure, cholesterol, inflammation, immune strength, are the exact things that start asking more of us in our 60s and 70s. In your 30s, your body absorbs a lot of small mistakes without complaint. Later on, it stops being quite so forgiving, which means the small, repeatable habits start carrying more weight than they used to. Before we get into it, I'm curious, are you someone who already cooks with garlic almost every day, or is it more of an occasional thing in your kitchen? Tell me in the comments. The answer tends to split people right down the middle. I'll also say this now. There are two things in this video that most people have never been told about garlic. One is a genuine benefit almost nobody talks about. The other is a warning that matters a great deal if you take certain daily medications. Both are coming later, so stay with me. So what actually happens if you start eating it every single day? Let's get into it. Number 1. Your blood vessels start to relax. Garlic contains a compound called allicin. It only forms when you crush or chop a clove. That's the sharp smell you know so well. Once it's released, allicin gets to work on your blood vessels. Researchers have pooled data from multiple clinical trials, and the pattern keeps showing up. Regular garlic intake is linked to a modest but real drop in blood pressure, especially in people whose blood pressure runs high to begin with. Some reviews put the average reduction somewhere around 3 to 4 points on both the top and bottom number. That might not sound huge, but blood pressure is one of those slow, quiet things that adds up over years. A small daily nudge in the right direction, kept up for a long time, is exactly the kind of thing doctors actually care about. It's not a replacement for medication. Nobody's swapping their prescription for a clove of garlic, but it's a good example of how something this ordinary can still show up in real, measurable ways. It's worth understanding what's actually happening in there, because it's more interesting than most people assume. Your blood vessels aren't rigid pipes. They're lined with a thin, living layer of cells that constantly adjusts how relaxed or how tight the vessel is. When that lining works well, your vessels widen easily, and your heart doesn't have to push as hard. What researchers have found is that when the sulfur compounds in garlic break down inside your body, some of them get converted into a signaling molecule your blood vessels already use to tell themselves to relax. Garlic isn't forcing anything. It seems to be adding a little more of a message your body was already sending. That matters more with age. Arteries naturally stiffen over the decades. It happens to everyone, and it's a large part of why blood pressure tends to creep upward after 60, even in people who haven't changed a single thing about how they live. Number 2. Your cholesterol gets a little help. Here's something a lot of people don't expect from a kitchen ingredient. Several studies looking at garlic's effect on blood fats have found a modest reduction in LDL, the cholesterol your doctor usually wants lower, along with a small dip in total cholesterol. The leading theory is that compounds in garlic interfere slightly with how the liver produces cholesterol in the first place. Again, modest is the key word here. This isn't a cholesterol medication, but heart health isn't built on one dramatic move. It's built on 100 small ones, stacked over years, and this is one of the easier ones to stack. Number 3. Your immune system perks up. This is the one your grandmother probably already knew. There's a well-known clinical trial where one group took a daily garlic supplement and another took a placebo over 12 weeks during cold season. The garlic group had less than half the number of colds, and when they did catch something, it didn't necessarily pass any faster, but they simply got sick less often in the first place. The leading explanation involves allicin's effect on the immune system, nudging certain immune cells to respond a little more actively to invaders. Lab studies have also found that garlic compounds interfere with a surprisingly wide range of bacteria and viruses, including some that are notoriously hard to treat. Is garlic going to replace your flu shot? No, nobody serious is claiming that. But there's a reason "eat your garlic" has survived as advice for this long. Something about it seems to genuinely help your body stay a step ahead. There's a reason this matters more now than it did 30 years ago, and it's not something people are usually told directly. Your immune system ages, just like the rest of you. As we get older, our immune cells respond a little more slowly, a little less precisely, and a little less enthusiastically than they used to. It's why a cold that would have knocked you out for 2 days at 40 can knock you out for a week at 70. It's why vaccines are often given at a higher dose to older adults. It's normal, it's universal, and it is not a personal failing. Nothing in your kitchen reverses that. But anything that helps your immune cells stay a little more responsive is worth a look. And garlic is one of the very few ordinary foods with actual trial data behind it, rather than just enthusiasm. I'd also point out what that trial actually showed. The garlic group didn't recover faster once they got sick. They simply got sick less often. That's a meaningful distinction, and it's exactly the kind of detail that gets flattened out when a study becomes a headline. Number 4. Your gut bacteria get fed. Garlic isn't just about allicin. It's also rich in fiber compounds called fructans, which your own digestive enzymes can't really break down, but the bacteria living in your gut absolutely can. That matters more than it sounds like. A healthy gut microbiome has been tied to everything from digestion to mood, to how efficiently your body handles sugar. Garlic acts almost like a small daily meal for the good bacteria already living in there, helping them grow and stay active. It's a strange thought that feeding tiny organisms you can't see might be part of what keeps you feeling steady. But that's increasingly where the research keeps pointing. There's a wrinkle here I want to be honest about, because it affects more people than you'd expect. Those same fructans that feed your good bacteria are also, for some people, the reason garlic causes bloating, gas, and general discomfort. If you have irritable bowel syndrome, or you've simply noticed that garlic-heavy meals leave you uncomfortable in a way other meals don't, that is not in your head. Garlic is genuinely high in the type of fermentable fiber that triggers those symptoms in sensitive people. If that's you, you still have options. Garlic-infused oil carries the flavor without the fructans, because fructans don't dissolve in oil. Cooked is gentler than raw, and smaller amounts spread across the week are tolerated far better than a large amount all at once. The broader point is one I come back to constantly. There's no food that's simply good for everyone. There's food that's good for most people, and then there's your body, which gets the final say. Number 5. Your body handles inflammation a little better. Chronic low-grade inflammation doesn't come with obvious symptoms. It just sits quietly in the background. And over the years, it's been connected to a long list of health concerns. Garlic compounds have been studied for their ability to reduce certain inflammatory markers in the blood, the kind of measurements doctors track without you ever feeling a thing. The effect isn't dramatic. It's not going to fix an injury or calm a flare-up overnight. But think of it less like a fire extinguisher and more like turning down a thermostat that's been set slightly too high for years. Small, steady, and easy to miss until you look at the bigger picture. Number 6. Your skin might quietly thank you too. This is the one almost nobody talks about, and it's genuinely interesting. A lot of visible skin aging isn't really about time. It's about sun exposure. Years of UV damage break down collagen and elastin, the fibers that keep skin firm, and that breakdown is driven largely by oxidative stress, the same free radical damage that shows up everywhere else in the body. Since garlic is loaded with antioxidant compounds, researchers started asking whether it might protect skin the same way it seems to protect blood vessels. Lab and animal studies looking at garlic compounds found that they helped preserve collagen, calmed down the enzymes responsible for breaking it apart, and reduced UV-related oxidative damage in skin tissue. Now, an honest caveat here, most of this research has been done in skin cells and animal models, not large human trials. So this isn't a green light to skip sunscreen because you ate garlic at lunch, but it's a compelling early thread, and it fits the bigger pattern. The same antioxidant activity that seems to help your heart and your immune system may be doing quiet work on your skin too. Sunscreen is still doing the heavy lifting. Garlic just might be helping from the inside. And while we're being honest, let me tell you what garlic will not do, because that list matters just as much. It will not lower your blood pressure enough to come off medication. It will not clear an infection that needs an antibiotic. It will not detox anything, because your liver and your kidneys are already doing that job full-time, and they do not need help from a bulb. And it will not undo damage that took 40 years to accumulate. If you come across a video promising any of that, close it. The real story here is smaller, and I think quite a bit more interesting. Garlic is an ordinary food that shows up unusually often in the research, producing modest effects in several directions at once. That's not a miracle. That's simply something worth keeping in your kitchen. Number 7. Your blood doesn't clot quite as easily. Here's a lesser-known effect, and it leads directly into something important. Garlic has a mild, natural blood-thinning quality. Some of its compounds interfere slightly with how platelets clump together. For most healthy people eating normal amounts of garlic in food, this is a small, harmless effect, arguably even a helpful one for circulation. But it's also the reason garlic shows up on medication interaction lists. Number 8. The part most people never hear. If you're on blood thinners like warfarin or even daily aspirin, large amounts of garlic, especially in supplement form, can amplify that effect. That doesn't mean a clove in your pasta sauce is dangerous. Cooking amounts, eaten as food, are generally considered safe for almost everyone. The concern shows up with concentrated garlic supplements or genuinely large daily amounts, especially before surgery or alongside blood-thinning medication. If either of those applies to you, it's worth a quick conversation with your doctor before making garlic a heavy daily habit. And one more honest note. Raw garlic on an empty stomach can cause heartburn or stomach irritation for some people. If that's you, cooked garlic is usually gentler and still keeps most of the benefit. Now let me answer the questions I actually get asked most about this one. Raw or cooked? Which is better? Raw preserves more allicin, and allicin is what most of this research is built around. But raw garlic is harsh on a lot of stomachs, and the best version of any habit is the one you'll actually keep. Cooked garlic retains plenty of beneficial sulfur compounds. If raw works for you, wonderful. If it doesn't, cooked is not a consolation prize. What about supplements? They're convenient, and some trials did use standardized supplements rather than food. But supplements are also where the interaction risk with blood thinners becomes real, because the dose is concentrated in a way a clove in your dinner never is. If you take any daily medication, food first is the safer path. What about black garlic, the dark sweet kind? It's ordinary garlic that's been aged slowly under gentle heat. Milder, sweeter, easier on the stomach. It isn't a scam, and it isn't a required upgrade. It's just different. And then the one everybody is really thinking about, the breath. Yes, it's real. And it isn't entirely fixable, because some of those sulfur compounds leave through your lungs rather than your mouth, which is why brushing your teeth only gets you so far. Parsley, apple, mint, and green tea all help a little. Eating garlic as part of a meal helps too. But if you're eating it every day, at some point you make a small peace with it. And I'd argue that most of the people worth spending your time with have made exactly the same peace. So how much should you actually eat? Most of the research pointing to real benefits used somewhere around 1 to 2 cloves a day, or the equivalent in a standard supplement. That's it, not a handful, not a heaping spoonful in every meal. A simple approach. Chop or crush your garlic and let it sit for about 10 minutes before cooking. That resting time lets more allicin form before the heat breaks some of it down. Add it near the end of cooking if you can, rather than the very beginning. No supplements required, no fancy sourcing. Just the same bulb sitting in your grocery store's produce section for a couple of dollars. The interesting thing about garlic isn't that it's some hidden secret, it's the opposite. It's been sitting in plain sight in nearly every cuisine on Earth for thousands of years. People weren't chasing a trend. They just kept reaching for something that seemed to work. And when modern research finally caught up and started asking why, the answers kept turning out to be more interesting than anyone expected. So the next time a recipe calls for 1 clove of garlic, maybe make it 2. Do you already cook with garlic every day? Or is this something new for you? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoy simple, evidence-based health videos like this one, subscribe. There's always more to explore. See you in the next one.